Imagine this. The best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Welcome to Speak. I am Joy Taylor here with NBA top 75 player Paul Pierce, who is ready for the weekends. Fox Sports NFL analyst TJ Houshmandzadeh and Fox Sports senior NBA analyst Rick Bucher.
Rick the Ruler.
Big plans this weekend, Paul?
Hey, I'm gonna just sit by the pool,
Get on the grill?
Get on the grill, get my menu together. I might get some chicken thighs together with some hot links, barbecue, Hawaiian rolls, throw them together.
I was having a conversation about how more men need to get on the grill.
Man, that's my thing.
Hold on a second.
It's a recipe we're losing.
So when you go,
I don't have an invite here.
Who on the grill? Oh, this is kids only. Kids only today.
It's only.
Who on the grill?
There's not a lot of confident people on the grill anymore. Confident men.
Really? Oh,
Grill.
No,
My wife won't let me on the grill.
Man.
It's a reality.
Man,
She's pretty good. She's pretty good, so I'm not complaining.
If you had to get on the grill, you could get on the grill.
What you could throw on there?
Of course.
What you could throw on? What you could put?
What do you want, bro?
You look like you could throw
period.
some.
Rick.
You look like you might throw some chicken breasts together. No seasoning.
Don't do Rick like that. Don't do Rick like that.
So wrong. That's so wrong.
TJ is oddly quiet over here.
No. I'll barbecue. Like my homeboys know, like whatever.
Yeah, I get down. You know what?
I'm not.
I'm gonna make a video for y'all today and tomorrow, and then I'm gonna bring.
Y'all need to make sure that, that this is being passed to the next generation.
Okay, you gonna be.
That's what we ain't doing.
That's what you're not doing.
That's very true. We are not doing
you
that.
as uncles and fathers need to take some responsibility to pass these skills to the next generation. You're not putting enough pressure on these young men.
Right.
Well, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of things that I didn't get passed down, so I don't really. You know how many tires
learned it somewhere.
You got started.
You know how many tires I've
you got
changed
started
in my life? One, and I had no choice. Never change oil. Don't know how to change oil.
One, Jordan, I told you.
Hey.
Trial by fire.
Hey, I had to change the tire. I had no choice, and after that, I got AAA.
But if you had to. All right, well, the Lakers have big plans to chase the title down next season, and Rob Pelinka is already working hard trying to improve the roster. The Lakers signed several notable undrafted free agents, including last year's NCAA leading scorer Eric Dixon and North Carolina's all-time leading scorer R.J. Davis. Pelinka also told reporters that he would, quote, explore every single unturned stone to add a big to our roster. So Key is not here today, so TJ, as the resident Lakers fan here on the set, are you confident that Pelinka can build a championship team?
Absolutely. He's done it before, has he not? This is what he's going to do. We get some size. All we need is some size. We right there with the rest of them. We got exposed in that Minnesota Timberwolves series. We couldn't stop dribble penetration, and we couldn't get a rebound. And so the draft pick, Thero, I like him. Athletic wing, that's what we're lacking. We don't have athleticism on a perimeter. And so we're lacking that. And so him as a draft, he gonna play. Just off of his size, athleticism, and the defense. He's gonna play.
Who? That draft pick?
A dude, Thero.
Oh, okay.
From Arkansas.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna be enough. He's gonna have to figure out how we can get some size, how we can get it, whether it's a power forward, a center, whoever. We got to get some size.
Yeah.
Because we had Rudy Gobert in a playoff game looking like he was unstoppable. And I didn't like that.
Like Shaq.
Yeah. I was.
You didn't like that?
No, I didn't like that. Like
Rudy Chamberlain.
Gobert had never done that before.
Right.
And he ain't did it after that. Mm-hmm. Like he couldn't do he wasn't playing like that the rest of the playoff series, but we made him look like he was almost Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
And so I do have confidence that Pelinka can do it. Now, there's going to be some assets he's going to have to give up, but if we can get a difference maker, then we got to do it, and I believe he can.
I didn't realize you were French.
Right.
We.
So, am I confident Pelinka can build a championship roster around Luka and LeBron? I'm not confident in that. Because, for one, he can build a championship. Let's just say that, because I always say the one ingredient top 5 player. Luka is certainly that. Mm-hmm. But when you got Luka, LeBron, Reeves, to me, they got 3 defensive liabilities. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that you can no longer build a championship around them two, Luka and Bron. These are your 2 best players, and they probably your 2 worst defenders. Now, we always talked about and throughout the playoffs with certain guys who can't defend, certain guys who ain't in shape. Look at the league where it's going right now. They're going to have to overhaul this roster. Luka's got to be the only one standing and say, all right, we're going to build according to Luka's strengths. And what is that? We got to have defenders, athleticism, lob threats. And that's the only way they're only going to be able to do that. But I just no longer think they can do it as the roster constructed. But it's always that one ingredient, like I said, that Luka ingredient is definitely a championship caliber player. But as long as LeBron is there, I think they kind of held back. And that's not knocking LeBron because he's still productive at his age. He just no longer can play heavy minutes and be the defender you need him to be for them to win a championship.
Yeah. No, this is not Rob Pelinka just starting to look for a big. He's been looking for one for more than a year, and I appreciate that that he's going to continue that pursuit. But you have, as Paul mentioned, 3 defensive liabilities in Austin, in LeBron, and Luka, and you don't have anybody protect them on the backside. That's not a recipe. Now, I agree. I knew we were going to get at least one. That won't be the last woe, by the way, since Paul and I are on the same side of the desk. The challenge, while I agree that Rob has demonstrated that he's capable of building a championship roster, LeBron James takes up 1/3 of your salary cap. And as much as he's still a box office draw and he's still a contributing player, he's not at this stage of his career worth 1/3 of your salary. And so that is the challenge. And I agree with Paul. It's like you need to be able to move on. So if this was just building a championship roster around Luka, I'd say, yeah, absolutely. Rob has that
like
capability.
LeBron washed or something.
It's not. He's not worth the money that you're paying him at this point, and he's a bad combination with Luka.
Yeah, I don't think them two together.
Like, it's not like they can't play together, but they can't play together at a championship level because of the investment that you have in them. That's just the reality.
LeBron can guard, if you take LeBron off the perimeter and have him guard somebody that wants to operate within the mid-range and the post, LeBron is perfectly fine.
He's got to, but one-on-one, okay, but he's got to help. If he's on the back line, he's got to be a help defender as well. And that having to rotate off the back line, throughout the playoffs and during the regular season, when he was there, all teams tried to do was get him in rotation. Let's make him have to move. Or if it was Jackson Hayes, whatever the bigs were, let's make them rotate. Because what we saw with the really good teams is everybody can defend. And the more two-way players you have on your team, that to me is the new change in the league today. Is like you have to have two-way players. The more two-way players you have, the better off you are. If you have to hide somebody offensively or defensively, you're at a disadvantage in today's game. And they got 3 guys that you're trying to hide defensively, and nobody who's good enough to be the full cloak and dagger to do that.
I think he can do it because he's built a championship roster before. So once you've done something once, I have to believe that you could do it again. It's very difficult to do. But he's not going to have a lot of space to do it. And I don't think that they just started looking for a big, to Rick's point. I think it was pretty obvious when Rudy Gobert was doing whatever he'd like with the Lakers that it was going to be a priority to fill that position. But the thing about the Lakers is that they're very tricky. You guys, you're very tricky. You remember the Lakers were completely out of it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Made that trade mid-season and went to the Western Conference Finals. Now, obviously, you have to have pieces, which is what we're all concerned about. Like, what are you going to trade? What assets do you have in order to acquire these players? But when they did it, we did not think that D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui was going to make that much of a dramatic difference in the roster, and it did. Now, Luka and LeBron does make for a different dynamic. Luka can get to a finals. We've seen him do it. But the team was meticulously built around what Luka does. And this team is not. That being said, I think that the West is wide open. Other than the Thunder, who we all have to put respect on because they are the champs, there's not another team in the West right now that is scary to me. The Nuggets obviously have the best player on the planet, but what about the rest of the roster? We saw how that worked out this year. So I think that there's a lot still to be determined with the Lakers and what they're going to look like and how this season is going to look. And I'm still, maybe it's nostalgia, but I'm not completely ready to write off LeBron James. He's second-team All-NBA and one of the smartest players.
Yeah, I'm not writing. They writing him off. I'm not.
I don't know that they're writing him off.
Well, you're not allowed to.
No, yeah, I am. I'm a fan of the team, not the players. You on my team, I like you. You leave my team, I don't like you anymore.
Okay, so LeBron's still...
TJ's old school. No, but I think he's still playing at a high enough level, and I think that an entire offseason of them figuring things out and moving the roster around, I still think it's available to them. I can't say unequivocally that they're not going to be contending next year.
This is the tricky part when we talk about them going to the Western Conference Finals, though, is, yes, they went, and it was surprising, and it was a result of the moves that they made.
Right.
But then they got stopped cold in the Western Conference Finals. Like, that was, if I'm not mistaken, a gentleman's sweep. And we're talking about building a championship roster. And I just look around the West, and I think you're right. It is wide open, but there are a lot of quality teams in the Western Conference.
Sure.
And so I think that only adds to the difficulty, because if you run into a Minnesota, or you run into a Houston, or you run into an Oklahoma City, or you run into a Denver, like, their ability to snake their way to the conference final and avoid multiple really good teams, I think, is the challenge.
Well, I think it's the matchup. That's the problem. And that's why Rob Pelinka is talking about getting a big. Because when you mention all those teams, yeah, it's very easy to look at what the Lakers look like now and be like, they would get smoked.
Yeah.
Because they're not built to compete against those teams.
Like, even if they got a big, I'm just trying to think, like, what big could they use that can, like, say, all right, if we put, like, even if,
Well, they need a lob threat for Luka.
For sure. And
100%.
a rim protector. But they went and got Mark Williams last year, right? And then realized, oh, wait a minute.
But
A first-round pick in Dalton Knecht might be a little too much for Mark Williams.
They're farther away from a title. Because did you see them get exposed? Minnesota exposed
It was on the
them.
perimeter. We got exposed on the perimeter.
They not only got to get more athletic, how are they going to get younger? They're not getting younger. LeBron is not getting younger. And Luka, I don't know how old is Luka, 26, 27? He played like he 38, the way he moved. You know, he got an old man's game. It's not a knock on Luke. It's just that he's sloop-footed. You know,
He's slow.
Yeah, he looked like me when I was 37. Like, you know, guys, go ahead, man. Olay. Just go by me. I'm going to get out on the break.
Defense? Because offensively, he's not.
Yeah, but you can't have two guys who are defensive liabilities.
Well, that's the other part of the issue. And what we've seen throughout this postseason specifically is defense is very important. And they're allowing teams to
Defense is important now because they went back to how when Paul came into the league, you was able to touch guys.
Physicality.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first year where it's like, oh, you can really put hands on guys. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
When they have the ball. And so now it's a somewhat of a changing of the guard. It's going to be very interesting to see once this regular season starts, how are they going to officiate the games?
Yeah.
How are they going to officiate the games? And we have two assets that we can move that other teams would want. It's Rui and Austin Reeves. Mm-hmm. Austin Reeves being the biggest asset, but it can be done.
Well, let's talk about Austin Reeves. He reportedly declined a 4-year, $90 million extension, opting to wait for free agency next year when he could potentially earn even more. So, Rick, should the Lakers pay Reeves or should they trade him?
They should trade him. He's turned it down, so they can't pay him now. They got to wait until next year, and then it would be loading him up with more than they're offering him now. But he's a luxury at this point. Nothing against Austin Reeves, massive overachiever, love his game. But with Luka Doncic, he's a luxury. He is better with the ball in his hands than off the ball. As we have already mentioned, he's not a great defender. He doesn't fit what you need next to Luka Doncic, particularly when he's your most valuable asset in terms of being able to change that. So I know that Austin wants to continue his career in LA and loves being here and all of that. And he's a fan favorite. I get all of that. But if you are building around Luka Doncic, he's a luxury, and they need staple items. Like, they need basics. They need 3-and-D guys. They need a rim protecting roll threat big. So he just, if you had those things, then you'd say keep him. But they don't, so they got to use him to go get him.
Yeah, I love him with Luka though. It's just
you do.
I do love him with Luka, but not with Luka and LeBron. You know what I'm saying? He fits the mold of the type of players that Luka, like, he catch and shoot, he can make plays. Think about if he was out there, if LeBron wasn't there, and then LeBron, his position was a 3-and-D guy or another athlete. You know, it's just that LeBron is going to take up so much of the offense and not give you the defense. And so is Luka taking up so much of the offense, not give you the defense. Then I don't need Reeves because he's doing the same thing as they're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of repetitive having those three. So I think you should trade them. You need to find a way to get younger, more athletic, shooting. They have a number of problems, though. I think people think that this is a quick fix and getting big.
They're not one piece away.
No, they're not one piece away.
Y'all haters, man.
That's not haters.
Do you think they're one piece? Why do you think they're one piece away?
swept.
We've talked about three. They need to be more athletic and defensive on the wings. And with all due respect to the new pieces, I'm not buying that rookies and undrafted free agents are going to get the job done.
Defense is about want to, man. It's about want to. Either I want to or I don't.
Or I just don't have the ability
It starts there.
Austin Reeves can stop and go. He can move laterally. If he really wants to play defense, he can. It just takes a lot of energy.
Listen, TJ, I'm telling you, I wanted to play defense too when I was 37.
Yeah, but
my
37.
My legs was like, nah.
Austin Reeves,
his mind went there. His body did not.
My legs was like,
Mind is willing, but the body is not.
Lateral just wasn't there.
is young enough to where if he, as my boy Cuffs the Legend want to say, if he want to slide the puppies and move the puppies, he can.
I'm sure he can. Hey, I'm telling you.
I'm not trading Austin Reeves unless I can get a difference maker, because Austin Reeves is a difference maker. If you look at his career, he's improved
100%.
every single year. So he averaged 20 points last year.
Yes.
He's probably going to come back this year, 22, 23.
A lot of those numbers, and I didn't break it down, but I guarantee you a lot of those numbers were before Luka got there.
Listen,
Yeah.
he still had to play a bunch of games with Luka. He averaged 20 points. And he's
not what
only
they
getting
need.
better. His game has shown us every offseason, I'm going to improve. And he's done it.
Let me present this to you, though. Obviously, we were talking about the Lakers are just in a really tough spot because they're in a win now, but they also want to prepare and start building around Luka for the future.
For sure.
So assuming that this is LeBron's last season, which we don't know, but
I'm keeping him.
What? Who?
Austin Reeves.
He just shut down here. Go ahead. Present your idea.
But assuming that this is LeBron's last year, right? The scoring is not the problem. You have LeBron and you have Luka. The problem is defense, rim protection. That's what you need. Perimeter defense. Those are the things you need. You need a lob presence, a rim defender, and defense across the board if you have Luka and LeBron. What you don't need is more scoring. Yeah. You have Luka and LeBron.
They got three guys on that roster that after the game, they be having talks with their legs. Hey, man.
If LeBron isn't there,
you got to move these things better. Come on, Ankle.
Luka is just, he got to account for all the points we scored. If LeBron isn't
Luka
there.
and LeBron.
But you said after this year, LeBron retires.
Okay, so but that's the problem the Lakers are in. Do you build
What are you doing?
Man, wake up.
Come on, I told you we needed to go.
around a team that can win this year with Luka and LeBron, or do you build a team around Luka that can compete for the future?
I'm okay.
You kind of can't have both right now.
I'm okay with trading Austin Reeves if we can get like a Jaren Jackson. I'm okay with that. But if you just trading him
That's a good move.
for just a regular dude,
Well,
I'm not doing that.
Get washed
but Paul,
on
you
the
play
trade.
the NBA. To me, defense is all about desire, and I'm not letting my man score. Like if you really are a competitor,
Yeah, I think
you have some pride, eventually your pride got to kick in and say, I'm not letting him score on me, period. I'm not letting you score.
Defense is about want to, but there's also anticipation. There's also a mentality. There's also conditioning. There's also, like, understanding the game, knowing where to be at certain times. Like, I think it's more than just, like, want. You can be you can go from being a bad defender to an okay defender.
Especially now they letting you foul, and that's like defense. Now, you seen Case and Wallace grab T.J. McConnell hand in the final. They ain't call that.
You know
like, they letting you foul now.
But there's also technique to it.
Yeah.
Like the Alex Carusos and Case and Wallace, the guys with Oklahoma City, one of the reasons why they get away with all of kind of the hand fighting is because referees judge the angle. And if you can get a step on a guy, then the contact is different. If I'm standing you straight up and I'm doing all this, but you're not going by me, they'll let me do that. If you're here and now I'm grabbing or trying to slow you down.
Who our defensive coach? Is it Scott Brooks? Who our defensive coach with the Lakers? Who like our defensive coordinator? Because you know they had that in the NBA now. Who's our guy?
I don't keep up with the Lakers coaches. They got
Whoever our guy is, then better start teaching that technique.
But you look here. The reality is, LeBron James at one time could guard just about every position. He's 41 years old.
If he wants to.
No, he can't. No, he can't. He can want all he want to at 41. He can't stay in front of wings
32 minutes
anymore.
a game, he can do it. If he plays 32 minutes a game, he can do it. Just can't play 38 to 40.
You fought the good fight, TJ.
We can do it like
You know what? You know what you are right now? You are not a player's coach right now. You are a coach.
Coach,
We're
going to get to that conversation.
I'm a both. I want to win, but
No, you
I
are
gotta
coach.
I gotta have my guys. Looking over at Paul's Celtics, they traded away Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to open up cap space and avoid the penalties that go along with being in the second apron. Yesterday, Paul got a little defensive. And Keyshawn and Rick suggested that the Celtics were entering a rebuild year after the trades with the Jason Tatum injury. So, Paul,
talk to me.
Are the Celtics in a rebuild?
No, not at all, Joy, Rick, TJ. We're in a reboot. You know how your iPhone got a, update. We're in update mode.
Okay. So it's like loading. It's taking a little while.
Yeah, it's taking a little while. You know, as we say, so many hours. Ours just say 1 year, maybe. Something like that. Our new update is coming. That's all. Because we still have our foundational guys. Of course, Tatum. He's going to have a year to recover. Brown is certainly part of the foundation. Derek White. What they did was cut some costs, which is understandable. And, I think there's going to be a big evaluation period this year. I think you're going to see how far away are we. We're going to look, play out the season. And it could be some trades throughout the season because think about it. The Eastern Conference, who's the favorite next year? Cleveland? They got dusted by Indiana. I'm really starting to think, is Cleveland that much better than Boston even without Tatum? Man, I don't know. So I think we're going to go through this evaluation period, play it out, see where we at. Boom, boom, boom. We get ready for the next year. Tatum come back. Now we got to make our moves to fill in the blanks. And we'll be right back in contention because we're relatively young. Brown is 28, Tatum's 27. Around there, we still got Pritchard coming off the bench, 6th man of the year.
Derek White.
Yeah, Derek White. So the foundation is there. As long as you got a solid core, everything will play out. So not worried about, what a rebuild is. Like, you would have saw Jaylen Brown get traded on draft night, like the rumors were saying. See, we don't follow the rumors. We don't do all that. So we'll be all right, though. We just gonna sit back in the cut, look, see what's going on, and then slide when it's time, when it's our time again.
How do you know? How do you know what Jason Tatum's going to be when he gets back?
Listen, this is the timetable. Think about it. He hurt his leg, last month, March? I mean, April, May, right? Mm-hmm. So from May, he's going to have a whole year and a half to recover. Mm-hmm. That's a good amount of time, Rick, because it's going to be, he has to be ready by October
2026.
2026.
I know, but whenever he comes back, what
I expect from him?
Yeah.
It'll take some time, but, we have living examples. KD, for instance, he looks better than ever still at the age of 37. Tatum's still young. So this is not an injury. Injuries of the 2020s is not the same as like when I came in, when there was different type of surgeries and the recovery was different. Like the athletes are better and we recover.
Early 2000s.
The early 2000s, yeah.
We're in the 2020s.
Can I get a full screen here
What?
guys who have had an Achilles?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
We got one.
Next year they play.
We got one guy there whose numbers went up. And
No, we don't need his numbers to go up, though.
And all the other guys' numbers went down.
Well, wait. So are you suggesting that Jason
dramatically.
Tatum is not going to be the same player when he comes back from this Achilles?
I don't know. But how are you going to explain this?
Okay.
How are you?
He's a very
Okay, I will.
How are you going to explain this?
he's a
I'll
very
explain.
young
Paul
player.
Pierce.
Okay, this is how I will explain it, Rick Bucher. Now look at this list, right? You see the names on it. Klay Thompson. How old was he? Was he 26 when he did his? No. He's probably in his 30s.
No.
DeMarcus Cousins is a big man. It's different. Kobe Bryant was well into his 30s when he did it. I don't know how old Elton
Brown was in his 30s also.
in his 30s when they did it.
Well, so was Kevin Durant.
Elton Brand was 28.
I get it. But
Elton Brand was 28.
Elton Brand was 28.
Elton Brand was 28. How are you going to explain that?
But listen, we're
What year
talking
was that?
an elite athlete, right? At the tender age of 26. All these guys was like upper 20s, 30s. I mean, Elton Brand is the only one that was in his 28. And we're talking about an elite athlete, an elite player, which Kevin Durant is, right? I can see him following that pattern.
Okay.
KD, check this out. What you do? Oh, that was the blueprint to come back? Oh, that was the mindset? I'm sure he's making calls to these guys. That's what the players do now. Talk about it.
I think the challenge.
It'll be fine.
The challenge is, and you know this, Paul, in all seriousness, is that what made the Celtics champions wasn't just their core. It was all the special pieces that they put around them.
Exactly.
And I like finding another Drew Holiday, finding another Kristaps Porzingis.
Well, the formula isn't always the same.
No, it's not always the
It's
same.
not always the same.
But the
formula
money,
changing now.
But the money, you got two guys that are going to be making $60 million plus. Like you don't have the same wherewithal now to go get those extra pieces. And that's the only reason why I bring up the Jason Tatum thing is because, you know what? He may come back and he may be the same. But the idea that he's going to be appreciably better is a question. And I feel at this stage, if you're taking away all these ancillary quality pieces, then you're going to look to Jalen and to Jason to carry a heavier load, to be even better than they are. And maybe they can be, but that's the tricky part of him coming back off of an Achilles is that's what he has to be.
No, yeah, the formula is changing, is what I'm trying to tell y'all. Like, the formula is not going to be the same from this championship. So now, in order to get back to contention, like how we saw OKC, Indiana, now we're going to have to probably have a deeper roster. We don't say, hey, Jason, we need you to come back and average 27, 28. I'm not sure that can happen right away. It may happen in a couple of years after we recover, but like I'm going to look at the roster like, hey, we need more depth now. So that's why we got rid of some salary.
Yep.
And we'll probably
Older.
continue to do that because you see
Older, expensive
we got
pieces.
Anthony for 1 year, so more salary next year will come off. And then you start to retool that way. I think they'll be fine, though. I think they got the blueprint, and I trust Brad Stevens, one of the best front office
But you
presidents.
don't trust Rob Pelinka?
No, I don't trust Rob. No, do you?
I do, because he's done it before. Like, it's a
We're
rebuild.
talking
It's
about
just
Celtics right
quiet. It's a quiet rebuild, right?
I don't think it's a rebuild. No, I think because I don't know that I believe. I think the Celtics would have lost that series regardless of whether Tatum got hurt or not. However, I think that if Tatum was 100% healthy, they would have found a way. Someone was going to have to go because they were not going to pay $500 million for a roster.
And Porzingis was hurt the majority of last year anyway, so losing him is like whatever.
So between salary and luxury taxes, they were on pace to spend almost $500 million in payroll for the next season.
Yep.
So if you're not winning a championship off of that,
I'm getting rid of them too. We ain't winning.
Yeah, but those guys were crucial to the championship
right.
team.
But the tricky part for the Celtics, and the reason why I don't think they're in a rebuild, I think they're just rebooting, is you have your core in Tatum and Brown and Derek White. But Drew Holiday is going to get older in this time that Tatum isn't around. Porzingis has had a lot of injury issues. As vital as he was, he's had some availability issues. So do you pay $500 million? Obviously, that's not going to happen. And you're not truly in full contention mode this year. However, I think Tatum will be back 100%. I think it's 2025. They have amazing recovery technology now, and he's 26 years old. So I think he'll be fine. It might take a little bit. He might be a little rusty coming back in the beginning of the season, but I think he will 100% get back to what he was before, which was one of the best players on the planet. That, to me, is the problem, is that you can't keep this roster in place if you're not competing for a championship, but you will be once he gets back. So I don't think of it as a rebuild.
But this is the tricky part, is, again, I hate to always bring up money, but you're paying both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum supermax contracts. I'm pretty sure, if not max, supermax.
Yeah.
67, close to $70 million, right? What OKC had was they were able to spread it out and buy quality, have quality players.
Well, they got
because they were able to
these dudes is going to be coming up for deals now, though.
Yes, they are, and that's going to be the challenge for OKC moving forward. But I think that's the new dynamic, that if you're going to build diversity and depth into your roster, then being able to make a run with your guys before they get paid the max is going to be key to doing that. And Boston is past that. They've already loaded up on Jaylen and Jason. So if you're going to, and Derek White, they're taking a huge chunk out of your salary cap. So going to get those complementary pieces, you're going to have to be very shrewd. I don't put it past Brad Stevens to find some diamonds in the rough, but that's what it's going to take. Right. And that's where I think it's a little more than just a reset for a year. I think there's a lot of work that Brad has to do to put this particular team back into title contention.
Well, coming up, we'll tell you which of the real quarterbacks of the NFL is most likely to win the Super Bowl. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. And as your vacation maximizationer, I'm going to make sure you hear the maximum sizzle of Comfort Inn's free hot breakfast. Let's get real close. Maximum apple. Now that's fresh crispimization. Maximum waffle. Hear that crunch. And that's maximum coffee. Oh yeah, that's the pour I'm talking about. Breakfast maximized before hitting the road. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
This is absolutely must-see TV. The Real QBs of the NFL. Starring Rodgers, Purdy, Jackson, Mahomes, and Shador.
I feel like you got to put Joe Burrow in there. There'll be a new bombshell into the villa. Okay.
Yeah. I will be tuning in to all of these guys.
Oh, yeah, you're going to tune in. Must-see TV.
It's absolutely going to be must-see.
These are two shows I'm going to be watching, Jordan. Love Island and the Real QBs of the NFL reality show.
Yesterday, we came up with the hottest new reality show, The Real Quarterbacks of the NFL, featuring Aaron Rodgers, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Shador Sanders, and Joe Burrow. So today, we're going to give you a season preview with which of these quarterbacks will be most likely to. So we'll start with which of them is most likely to have the best record, TJ?
I'm going to say Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
The team that the Ravens and DeCosta have built around him, if they don't win 12, 13 games, I'd be shocked.
I'm not going to disrespect the AFC champs. Patrick Mahomes. He only lost one game as a starter last year. So come on, we got to stop disrespecting the Chiefs. We got to stop disrespecting Patty Mahomey. You know what I'm saying? Come on, stop with this disrespect.
No, I'm with TJ in terms of Lamar and the Ravens. They have 13 wins 2 years ago, 12 wins last year. I don't see anything appreciably
11
different
coming up this year.
about this year's team. They're sort of in the middle of the pack when it comes to challenging schedules. So I'm going to go with Lamar.
I'm also going with Lamar having the best record. I hear you on Mahomes.
It's not disrespect.
But no, I don't think it's disrespect. We're not going solely off of last year. It is because.
Yeah.
But I think that it's going to be Lamar Jackson and the Ravens with the best record. Which quarterback is most likely to have the worst record, TJ?
Ooh, that's easy.
He said that's easy.
Whoever the Cleveland Brown quarterback, so that's
No, out of these quarterbacks right here, who's gonna have the worst record?
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
If it's Shador, that's guaranteed. It's going to be the worst record.
They in a tough division.
What if he don't play?
You on the team. You're a rookie. If you don't play, you 0-0. So you ain't win the game.
What kind of rigmarole
So
you got going on? He's on the list.
If Shador isn't on the list, and I had to pick from that, I'm going Aaron Rodgers. If Shador isn't on the list, but if Shador is on that list, it's Shador Sanders.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I think by default it has to be Shador because I don't think he's going to play the entire season, and he's playing for the Browns, who I don't think are going to have the best season. But I also feel like that's a little unfair because he's not even the starter. Like the rest of these guys are going to start for their team. So I would say Shador by default, but I'm going to take him out. So it's got to be Rodgers. I have said I think this will be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. I don't have high expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. I do know that Aaron Rodgers plays for the Steelers now, which is news. But I don't see it. I don't see how it's any different than last year. I think that the division will be better this year because I think that Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals will get back on track. So I don't think it'll be a disaster. I'm not anticipating full-on calamity, but I do think that he will have the worst record out of any of these guys.
And if Shador is playing, I don't expect him to get the nod coming out of the gate. If he does get it, it's because they've already thrown in the towel and said, we're going to develop the young guy.
Yeah.
And I think that only points to, I mean, right now the odds makers have him at 5.5 wins.
Right.
That ain't going to get you to the playoffs. Probably going to be the worst record among these quarterbacks.
They're going to come in the last 2 games, go 2-0. Y'all going to be like, oh. All right, let me see. Who's going to have the worst record out of these quarterbacks? I went with Shador also.
Okay, so
Thank you for the draw.
because I think we're all going to say Shador because we think that the Browns are not going to have a good
Second worst.
All right, I'm going to go.
You can say it.
Yeah. You can say it. Go. Say it. Come on. You can say it.
I'm going to go Burrow.
Burrow.
What?
The Bengals.
No, you're not.
Bengals. Yep.
Second worst record?
They
Oh,
You got to be kidding me.
so they
my
missed the
God.
playoffs for three years in a
Yeah,
row.
they're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to go 0-1 versus Cleveland, first off.
All right, so what's the Steelers' record going to be? Because that's where you should have
Steelers going to win 10 games. Yeah, Steelers going to win 10 games.
Wow.
Like they did last year. I got them winning 10 games.
Rick, who you got? Taking Shador out of it.
Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
That's not an easy one.
That is
they
so-
won 10 games with Russell Wilson.
easy.
They're going to win 10 games with Rodgers. It's not an easy one, Rick.
It's an easy one. It's
All
an easy
right.
one. Looking at this list,
Well, they actually won some games with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won 10 games, though.
Which quarterback is most likely to win MVP, TJ?
Ooh,
This really gonna surprise Paul from what he just said.
yeah, no kidding.
ooh.
I believe we will have a team season the way we should have had last year. Joe Burrow's gonna win MVP.
Ooh.
I have Mahomes.
Ooh. Oh.
I have Mahomes. I do think that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens will have a better record, but I think that Mahomes getting guys back healthy, coming off of a really bad loss in the Super Bowl, they'll have a chip on their shoulder. It might be Travis Kelce's last season. I think he's going to get back to a really good statistical season, which was not what they had last year. Remember, last year they were squeaking wins out, and it didn't quite look right. I think they're going to fix all those things, and Mahomes is going to get another MVP.
I'm with TJ again. I think it's Joe Burrow. He was getting he had the momentum at the end of last year because he finished so strong.
Yeah.
And I believe that if healthy, we're going to see the Bengals for the first time in a long time come out of the gate a little bit stronger. And I think there's a sentiment, and I've seen this in the NBA as well. There's a guy that you think just missed out. SGA last year was the runner-up. and then won it this year. I think there is some sentiment that goes into that, and it's got a full arsenal. Let's put it this way: if they are a winning team, it's going to be because of the offense. The defense is going to have to come along. He's going to have to put up big numbers. And I could probably answer, because if you got the Steelers winning 10 games, then MVP's got to be Aaron Rodgers, right?
No, that's not enough wins.
Oh.
All right, who's going to be the MVP? Now, originally, I can't have Burrow the MVP because they're going to have the worst record out of all these quarterbacks.
Yeah.
No, I don't got all that. But my MVP next year is a guy who's been to the top of the mountain as MVP, and now it's time for him to return after taking a year off. I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Making another run at MVP.
Wow. See, I feel like the voters are going to have a hard time giving him yet another.
I wouldn't argue with that, though. I wouldn't argue with that. Lamar Jackson's getting better every year. Every year he's been in the league, he's gotten better.
And he never doesn't look MVP level.
That is true.
Yeah, he could have easily got it.
Yeah, he could have. All right, which quarterback is most likely to miss the playoffs?
This is an easy one. This is the easy one.
That guy in the AFC North. That's not Joe Burrow. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. I also have Aaron Rodgers. Who you got?
Well, I'm putting 2 and 2 together since I'm having him to have the worst record out of these quarterbacks. It's Joe Burrow.
You think that the Bengals are going to miss the playoffs?
I'm not sold on the Bengals.
That is insane thinking.
I'm not sold on the Bengals. I'm not sold on their ownership. They got unhappy defensive players over there right now who are disgruntled, who haven't signed, and who knows will they sign. I'm not giving it to them because of what y'all saw at the end of last year. That was smoke and mirrors. They're going to beat the Bengals, the same Bengals they've been every year at the start of the year, where they've been, what is it, in the last 5 seasons? 1-11? 1-11 in the first couple games of the season? Nothing's going to change. I can fix them, girl. No, you can't. They're the same old Bengals. Hey, one more time. You can do what? I can fix them, girl.
Rick, who you got?
I have Shador and the Cleveland Browns. I'm surprised that you have Aaron. Why would you put the Browns first in that
Shador is kind of an outlier here. Like it's kind of hard to put Shador.
We're just not going to pick on him.
Guys I know who are going to play.
Yeah, like obviously and he's not the starter, so it's kind of tricky to put this on him. So yeah, I think that the Browns will miss the playoffs, but I also
adding him in this for a star power, right? He wanted him on the show for a star power.
The show is about the drama and the conversation. We're getting very football technical here.
Right.
I don't think that the Steelers are going to make the playoffs this year, so I would say Rodgers. I think that Purdy, Lamar, Mahomes. I think that the next question, most likely to make the playoffs. I think that Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals will be in the playoffs this year. Which quarterback is most likely to make it?
Most likely to make it, the quarterback that has won 9 straight divisional titles, the quarterback that has never missed the playoffs, the quarterback that always advances past the first round, Patrick Mahomes. That's easy.
Yeah.
He's proven.
To make the playoffs, okay, since you're going with Mahomes because there are a lot of playoff-worthy quarterbacks on here, but I'm going Rodgers because I got to win in 10 games.
Oh, my God.
They're going to win 10 games. This is Mike Tomlin. We're talking about a coach who's never had a losing season, a coach who dragged Russell Wilson to 10 wins and made the playoffs. So why would I think with Rodgers, who I believe is still better than Russell Wilson, not win 10 games?
Oof.
I'm rocking with Rodgers on this one.
Okay.
We need to do a show, the Real Sports Talk Show host, because we got some drama going on here.
It's the real. It's the real.
I'm actually going to go with the one guy from the NFC up here because I feel like the AFC is going to be ultra competitive to get in.
We want Purdy.
And I'm going to go Purdy. Because I think they have a quality team, and I think it's going to just be a little bit easier, somehow, some way, even if it's wild card, for them to get in as opposed to and obviously we got a couple teams here with the Browns and the Steelers that are going to be challenged to find that, but
that's not a bad.
I think we're writing the Niners off a little too soon. I would agree with that.
In terms of what they can do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to look very different this year, which apparently offended everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't keep up. You guys, snowflakes out here, get offended by everything. But I think they're going to look a little different with the roster pieces that they've lost, particularly Deebo Samuel. So I think that we're writing them off as far as them not being competitive too soon. I just think the idea of what we've thought of the Niners as being this smash mouth, very aggressive, dominating team that you were in an ice bath for a week after playing, I don't know if that's still going to remain because they don't have the depth that they had in these past years. Like, they were dominating teams. I think they'll still be good, and I'm with you. I think they are a playoff team still. We saw that they lost so much, and we're just kind of reacting to that.
I can't help but being our resident Bay Area resident. That the names at this point were bigger than the games in terms of the guys that they lost.
Well, Key says that a lot because they missed a lot of time. Like, the guys that they lost a lot of them had real injury.
They'll be better because of the coach they've hired on defense. They'll be a lot better. They're going to be a lot better because of him. A lot better.
It's a big deal. Coming up, Mike Tomlin has been known as a player's coach, but is that what could end up getting him fired in Pittsburgh? That's next on Speak. Pro Football Focus came out with their head coach rankings for the 2025 season, and Andy Reid came in at number 1. Sean Payton came in second, followed by Sean McVay, John Harbaugh, and Mike Tomlin to round out the top 5. Reigning Super Bowl champion Nick Sirianni came in at 8. I don't have my tomatoes with me because I forgot to grab them. But if I did, they would be getting thrown at this board.
You need them?
Now, who
made
this top 10 list?
This is Pro Football Focus.
Pro Football Focus. Where are they located?
Ready to pull up? Drop the address.
Right. If I'm not mistaken, Chris Collinworth, he owns Pro Football Focus. So they basically out of Cincinnati. I can be wrong, but I believe that's what it is.
That doesn't help.
This is Cincinnati's fault?
Doesn't explain. Yeah, it doesn't explain this. Though.
All right, let's begin. What is your biggest issue with this list?
Me?
Yeah.
Listen, there cannot be a top 10 list and Kevin O'Connell not be on it.
Okay, so who are you taking out?
It don't matter who you take. You can take everybody. Kevin O'Connell is a great coach. He's won with any quarterback that he's had.
Well,
I'm taking out Kevin Stefanski, number 1.
That's the argument for Kevin Stefanski.
How can you... Kevin Stefanski may be a great coach, but I need results.
Yeah.
I need results. Oh, I don't have a quarterback. That ain't my fault. I need results. And so Kevin O'Connell needs to be on that list. Matt LaFleur needs to be on that list. There's coaches like Nick Sirianni should be higher. Everybody wants to give credit to the team for Nick Sirianni's success. You need a great coach and great players to win. It goes hand in hand. Like, they don't like his X's and O's or whatever, but he relates to the players. They obviously play hard for him. And so for me, Sirianni should be higher. Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur needs to be on the list. Who comes off? I know for sure Stefanski comes off. The fact that they put him on there, whoever did the list, that's his homeboy.
Dang, I'm going to play a little musical chairs with this. Like, on the rankings, like, if I was to take Andy Reid just completely off the list, Sean McVay would be number 1 to me. And then I'm not sure if I'll have Sean Payton, but I gotta put Nick Sirianni up there. I mean, if you look at his record over the last 5 years, he's probably got most wins in playoff. Winning up there. And so that's the biggest changes that I would probably make to this list. I just can't, you got to put the Super Bowl coaches at the top, obviously.
Well, I think this is also based off of, has to be also based off of a resume.
Yeah, resume is good. But if you don't got a Super Bowl, it's...
why is Harbaugh above Mike Tomlin?
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my Edward Scissorhands on this in a second. Rick,
that's what I'm thinking.
What are your issues?
My biggest issue is I got Jim Harbaugh ahead of Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, and Dan Campbell. The love affair with Jim Harbaugh, while I think he's a great coach, he's a great builder. What has he done that those three, especially Dan Campbell, like you may give a lot of the credit for what they did to the offensive and defensive coordinators. He has to empower them. And all the injuries that they had last year and the fact that they still had the record that they did, that on its face.
Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. I don't want to cut you off. He's a great coach. I played for him. And I've sat in those meeting rooms. Like, people don't understand the way a coach talks to you, the way he treats you, the way he goes about things, the way he holds a meeting and he gets his players' input. Like, that matters.
Okay.
And so, like, he's a great coach, and I know that firsthand sitting in that meeting room with him for a whole year. I know that.
But do you put him ahead? I'm sorry, but that's fine. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying he's not an accomplished coach.
I don't know how he is, but I just know.
Okay, but you didn't play for a lot of these coaches. We're talking about
But no, because he pointed out. You point out Jim or John?
Jim.
Oh.
Not John.
You played for John?
I was like, why is it going so hard?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So, okay, listen. Andy Reid, obviously.
I had to catch myself.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Andy Reid is obviously at the top. The top five is Andy Reid. It's then Mike Tomlin.
Came hard on that too. Sorry.
Yeah. It's Andy Reid. It's Mike Tomlin. It's Nick Sirianni, Sean McVay, and John Harbaugh are the top five if you're considering Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl wins, resume.
Okay.
After that, we can start mixing things around.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the issue with we can start doing the chop. But that's the top five.
Right.
Those are the top five coaches in the NFL right now.
One more time.
Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Nick Sirianni, Sean McVay, John Harbaugh.
I like that.
I like that, too.
I like that.
I would put Sean Payton at 6 because he has a championship.
Yeah.
And I'm putting guys who have won championships.
And what he did last year was impressive in Denver. That was impressive.
Love Sean Payton. But Sean Payton has a championship, and he's back coaching, and he is impressive again.
Yeah.
So I'm putting him up there.
Fair.
You have a ring, you're not jumping any of these guys. If you want to argue about the order of that, sure, I'm right, but you're willing to, it's a free country for a little while.
Yeah.
Here's the other part. Where is Sean McDermott? Where is Matt LaFleur? What are we talking about? You're talking about Kevin O'Connell. McDermott is an 86-45 record with the Bills. They've played in 2 AFC championship games. Matt LaFleur is a 67-33 record with the Packers. 2 NFC championship games.
So who are you taking?
Stefanski has a 40-44 record.
Yeah.
He's 1-2 in the playoffs. What is this? Is this like charity? What are we talking about?
It's his homeboy did the list.
Yeah.
And listen, Dan Campbell has done a spectacular job and should be getting mountains of credit. He's been phenomenal in turning the Lions around, and what he did last year was it's incredible. But he made it to an NFC championship game. Matt LaFleur has been to 2 NFC championship games. And I don't want to get into who has a quarterback and who doesn't have a quarterback. I don't care about that. We can't play the who got favor awards. Mm-hmm. McDermott developed Josh Allen. Forget what you see in Josh Allen and this Megatron of a human now. When he came into the league, he was not that. He was not polished, and there was a lot of development that he needed to do. Sean McDermott should be much on this list and probably higher. Kyle Shanahan, obviously, we can put him anywhere. He's done an incredible job. But Nick Sirianni being at 8 is, I'm not going to cuss, but it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous that he's at 8.
But I'll go back to it. Jim Harbaugh at 6. He's on. You have him on the fringe of the top 5.
Not on this list right now.
I would agree.
He's not on this list right now.
Stefanski and Harbaugh can't be on the list.
I did sit meetings, though, with Jim Harbaugh. I'm going to clarify. I didn't play for him.
Yeah.
But I did sit meetings with him a lot.
But if you
last year, I had clarification.
John, I have a completely different feeling about John than I do about Jim.
Yes.
They're two different coaches.
Well, John also, and listen, Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. He's a great coach. And we do forget what he did when he was in the NFL.
Previously with the 49ers.
Some time since. But I do think that matters. These guys have been consistently in the NFL putting up wins winning records and developing players and playoff wins, the Super Bowl appearances, that matters. When we're talking about the full resume here, John Harbaugh, every single year we expect the Ravens to compete for a championship, and they are in the playoffs every single year. Lamar Jackson has won multiple MVPs. They've made it to an AFC championship game. What are we talking about?
This is disappointing because I look at Pro Football Focus, and I generally, when they're ranking players at various positions and units and all of that, I pay attention to what they do by and large. This undercuts, to me, their credibility in a big way because it's really hard to explain how these 10 in this order can be the 10 best head coaches in the NFL right
Oh, well,
now.
it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Which
it's
then
not.
kind of throws, then now it makes you question everything. You take a closer look at everything they do.
Pick on Stefanski, but when you put him at number 10,
No,
that's
I think
the eye-opener.
Stefanski has done a really nice job.
But he shouldn't be in front of the
that's
top 10.
But what I will say overall, like zooming out from this, there's a lot of good coaches in the NFL. Because if we just stop this at 10 and say we leave Stefanski in there, you have Kevin O'Connell, you have McDermott, who's not in this, you have LaFleur, you have Dan Quinn, you have a lot of good coaches that are in the NFL right now. Like we can go deeper than we are. They've done really nice jobs.
I'm ending my subscription to Pro Football Focus.
After you pull up.
I gotta end my subscription now.
Well, Mike Tomlin was 5th on the list, and he has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. D'Amico Ryans. Where's he on the list?
He's just young.
Yep.
He's just getting going.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
why.
we're doing resume, but I'm just saying we have a lot of great coaches. Despite the regular season success, Tomlin has not translated that to the playoffs in recent years. The Steelers have not won a playoff game in the last 8 seasons, despite reaching the postseason 5 times. Tomlin was always given a pass because of the lack of star power at the quarterback position, but now he has 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers, so the pressure's on, I guess. Not for me, because I don't think that makes a difference. But TJ, any chance that Aaron Rodgers gets Mike Tomlin fired in Pittsburgh?
0% chance, no chance. When you're established as Mike Tomlin is, when you've done what he's done, I don't believe there's any player that can get Mike Tomlin fired. If anything, Mike Tomlin will make Aaron Rodgers look better than Aaron Rodgers can make Mike Tomlin look bad and get him fired. I just feel like Mike Tomlin, we talk about, and everybody says this, he's never had a losing season. Mm-hmm. So if he has a losing season now, they're going to say it's because of Aaron Rodgers. You should have been there in OTAs. You wanted to sign at the last minute. You hadn't built any chemistry with the team. And so I just feel like Mike Tomlin is bulletproof when it comes to any criticism that may come to the team this year, because I don't know who stood on that table and said, Aaron Rodgers is going to be our quarterback. We knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know when. But I don't know if Mike Tomlin was that guy or he felt like, this is our only choice, and so I have to live with it. But Mike Tomlin going to be the coach until he says, I don't want to be the coach.
Ooh, you know what? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to get him fired because they're going to win 10 games. Like I said earlier, they're going to win a playoff game. And all the noise that's surrounded around Pittsburgh is going to quiet down. And then they're going to finally find their quarterback of the future, I believe, next year. Because they've been going through these quarterback carousels over the last, I don't know how many years, and haven't really had a chance to establish a quarterback. Because you can just throw anything out to Mike Tomlin and he gonna get them to the playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I was a left guard, we'll get to the playoffs if I play with Mike Tomlin. So, I mean,
Yeah, I see that. That's like a swim move.
Yeah, who knows with that little jiu-jitsu in there.
No, I improved it, though. I had another one. We got to show that up later.
Yeah.
I got new technique now.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw your new
Starting lower.
technique.
I got a new technique now, CJ. So.
I can't wait till they go 7 and 10, and I go, how are you going to explain this?
What you talking about?
The Steelers?
Steelers record is 7 10
why do you
10.
gotta-
How are you going to explain this, Paul
Even
Pierce?
if they go 7 and 10, Mike Tomlin's not getting fired. I'm with TJ.
No.
He gonna have to write his own
I agree.
slip up out of there.
I agree. Aaron Rodgers, for whoever decided that he should be the quarterback this year, is a placeholder for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin is a made man. Aaron Rodgers, let's face it, this was really the only option he had. It wasn't like he was turning teams down. He may have the great resume, and he may still have something left, but I don't know that he has the star power or the pull at this point to be able to unseat somebody like Mike Tomlin. The only question I have is if they do have a bad record, if he does have his first losing season, are the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point ready to make a change? Because there was already innuendo prior to this.
Yeah, this conversation
Rodgers.
has been introduced over the past, I would say, 2 years.
Yeah.
Just some rumblings about if the streak of winning seasons has become like the standard now, because Pittsburgh is a team that is supposed to be competing for championships every year. And as remarkable as it is that they have not had a losing season under Mike Tomlin, they also haven't had postseason success in quite a while.
Right.
So what is the standard? Now, you're moving on from your Hall of Fame quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, so there might be a few rocky years, but they still have not been able to replace him. Now, I don't personally feel like they've made great efforts to replace him either, and I don't think that they handled his exit as far as having someone under him to replace him in the building very well either, for a multitude of reasons. But all that being said, here we are.
Yeah.
I don't think that Mike Tomlin is going to get fired if they have a bad season this year. I don't think it will be catastrophic because Mike Tomlin doesn't have those kind of seasons. So Aaron would have to be so bad, and then Mason Rudolph would have to be so bad that would be the case. And I just don't see them, the defense, the leadership that they have there, I don't think it's going to completely fall apart. I don't think that they will make the postseason this year because I anticipate that the Bengals will be better. And within that division, it's just going to be, and in the AFC, quite frankly, it's just going to be too tight.
Yep.
But I don't think there's anything that could happen. I don't think there's anything that Aaron Rodgers could do to get Mike Tomlin fired.
And why
if
they do the Steelers like this?
What?
When you look at their schedule, why is it always easy at the beginning and then hard
the
at
back
the
half
end?
of the season,
Why
the
they
back
do
half
this?
of the season
That's
is where
how it
it's
was
going to
last
get
year.
it's going to get wild. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough at the second half of the
They're
season.
going to start off real good, and they're going to be like, told you, Aaron Rodgers is the guy. We told you.
Oh, yeah, them boys going to be in my comments for sure.
Yeah.
But,
Look at the first five games of the season. Look at the first five.
Yeah, so the season, I don't know if we have the graphic, but they start, obviously, at the New York Jets. We'll be there. Then the Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Browns, and Bengals.
Oh, yeah. They're going to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Great start.
Then they have the Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and then they end the season with the Ravens. So, yeah, they have quite the gauntlet to finish the season.
The one thing that raises a question for me with Tomlin, and I've always been a huge admirer and fan as someone who watches him beat the Bengals on a regular basis, is there is the sense out there that his approach needs to be, as you would say, rebooted or upgraded, that it is an old style of we're conservative offensively and we're built around the defense, and that in today's NFL that he or they need to be more progressive when it comes to how they approach the offensive side of the ball. And that is the question, whether Mike Tomlin has outlived his usefulness in
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
not a quarterback.
What's that?
There's not a quarterback.
No, I agree, and that's where I don't think Aaron Rodgers fits the model to say he's so good that if you can't win with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, this is why we're raising the question, right? You've got this
Aaron
Hall of
Rodgers
Fame
won
quarterback.
5 games last year. So
Him never having a losing season is part of the reason that they're in this predicament, because they never lose, so they can never draft a franchise quarterback at the top of the draft.
Yeah.
They're always 18 through 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they
quarterbacks are
also
ground.
aren't. I'm not. I mean, we can go back and get into too deep into draft talk, but like people who have not had high draft picks in the top 10 have still managed
Lamar
to get
Jackson.
their franchise guy. Yeah. So
Rare.
you have rare, sure, but
Patrick Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers.
be rare. Like go out and do the
Brock
work
Purdy.
to get. Well, that's the one I don't want to use. That's the example I don't want to use. Well, coming up, is Giannis more likely to win another title if he stays with the Bucks or forces his way out of Milwaukee? That's next on Speak.
Shopping is hard, right? But I found a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And he sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what works and send back the rest. It's so easy. Make style easy. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Over to the NBA, Giannis remains on the Bucks, but according to a report, he could still be on the move later this summer. Giannis is reportedly focused on winning another title and is waiting to see how the Bucks' off-season moves impact his chances of another championship run in Milwaukee before making any decisions about his playing future. So, Rick, what's the best move for Giannis, to stay or go?
Stay. Stay. Don't join the ring-chasing crowd. The grass is not always greener. I just think at this stage, look, are the Bucks prepared to compete for a title right now? No, but there's no guarantee in the places that he would go and what those teams would have to give up to get him that he would be playing for a title there. And I believe that if he just competes, if he wins another ring in Milwaukee, it would mean far more than going someplace else. Far more. And if he stays and he simply competes and gets them back in contention, it is going to mean more. And if nothing else happens, if he doesn't win another ring, if it doesn't work out, the fact that he spent his entire career there and he brought a championship to Milwaukee, I think has a value that I dare say Damian Lillard didn't have a chance to win one in Portland. But after everything that's happened, I'd really like to know whether leaving Portland paid off for him or not. Because I feel as if we look at him in a different way and his presence and his persona, there's been something lost there. Giannis doesn't even have to fall that far because he already has that. He's already made man in Milwaukee. So I just think I think we're past the guys getting together. That's not what Giannis has always been. He would be the first international player to ask out and ask to be traded. And that's not a precedent that I would like to see him set.
Paul, should Giannis stay or go?
If I'm Giannis, I'm out of there. I mean, it's just and Rick says don't go to the ring-chasing culture. Well, listen, I want an opportunity as one of the greats. I'm talking as I'm Giannis. As one of the greats of the game, could arguably be the best power forward to ever play. He's been an MVP. He knows what that feeling is to win. And ever since he's won, they've regressed. They haven't made it out, I believe, the second round. They haven't made it out of the second round since winning the championship. So this guy is consistently there night in, night out. I'm healthy. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting the help I need. Now, we all know that we're going to go to another year in Milwaukee and say this is a year we probably, before the season started, you want to be optimistic. But he's going to go into a season to where there's probably a 99% chance that I'm not going to win a championship this year because I don't have Dame. And he's eating up a lot of the salary cap. So for me, I'm like, man, these is wasted years that I don't get back. I'm one of the best, 30, 11, and 6. What, you want me to come back and do this again?
Okay,
and for us to lose in the first round?
Hold on. Are you still, why shouldn't Jaylen Brown be saying that right now?
What you mean? He's not 30.
We're talking about he's 29.
Because his co-star is still in his 20s.
He's an MVP.
He's got a year. He's got a year here where he has no chance of winning a championship.
He's part of those ingredients that I talk about that you need to win a championship. Well, he's part of that. He's the main ingredient.
Giannis is.
Giannis is the main ingredient that you need to win a championship. And now I'm gonna waste these ingredients. It's like when I season up my little steaks and stuff. I drop it on the floor. Man, I can't cook that now. I gotta throw that out and get a new steak. Man, let's go, Giannis.
5-second rule.
Nah, it ain't. Nah, dropping a steak on the floor.
Why are you dropping a steak on the floor?
Oh, no, I must have tripped. Went to the grill. Like, it's time for him to find a new place. Now, I know a place where he can go right away.
Oh.
Right as of today,
okay.
San Antonio. That'll put him right back in contention. Are you kidding me? Because San Antonio,
we're going to go from 12th to title contention?
Yeah, Rick.
Like next season. They're a championship contender.
Who the Spurs got to give up?
Yeah.
Some of them young pieces, the Rookie of the Year, Castle. Okay, y'all can have it.
All right, so it's Wemby and Giannis and a bunch of other pieces.
Yep.
And you're going to win a title. No way. I like that as a base, but where's your scoring? Where's your perimeter?
Here's what I don't like about Giannis leaving. And Giannis should do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, you got De'Aaron Fox still.
It's his career.
Yeah, I don't know if you have De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I don't know if you.
Before you go, Joe.
For Giannis?
Like, let me just tell you, make a point. I was on a team that was in last place the year before. We traded for KG and we won the chip. Right out the gate.
You got a couple other guys.
I mean, a couple.
You added a couple other guys.
They got a couple.
You happen to get a
other
Rajon Rondo coming in as your rookie.
But he's a second-year player. He's a second-year player. He wasn't Rondo yet.
He was still.
He wasn't Rondo
still
yet.
pretty good. Oh, we're not going to give Ray any
Ray was
any
cool.
love.
Ray was good. But I'm saying they got the pieces to fill in those spots.
Okay.
Come on.
I think that, first of all, I think that the Bucks have done a nice job of giving Giannis some support. It's not like Giannis has not had players there that they haven't made moves to bolster that roster
at his request.
At his request,
yeah, for sure. Even at the coach he wanted.
And give him opportunities. So largely, I don't bang this drum because nobody likes this drum, but we do not talk about Giannis not elevating that team in the postseason the way that we would probably any other star, regardless of the injuries. But that's a separate conversation. That grace of whatever that thing is that we do with Giannis is not going to happen if he leaves and goes to another team. If he leaves and goes to another team, we're going to expect him to win a championship. And not like one day, very soon. Because otherwise, why would you leave the Bucks? I don't think the Bucks are a poorly run organization. I think they've done a lot of things to put pieces around him. He has Damian Lillard. Like, obviously, the plan wasn't for Dame to get hurt, but he can't say that they haven't brought in players and done things to put things around him to make him successful. So, yeah, at some point, it's also on the top 5 player that we at one point thought was the best player in the league, a league MVP, a champion. Yeah, you have to carry the bulk of this responsibility. You are on the floor. So I don't think that it is a good idea for him to leave at all, because I don't think the Bucks are incapable of building a championship roster or a competitive roster. If this was a place where that was impossible and year after year, he is the reason that they are competing at all, and he has no support, and the role players aren't good, and they're not developing, they don't have the right coach, cool, get the hell out of there. But I don't think that's the case. And I'm all for him leaving as well. Like, if you want to go to the Heat,
he should leave.
But I think you should leave. But there's going to be an expectation of you winning. The whole first round thing, that's out of here.
Yep.
If you leave.
Agreed.
You think he should leave?
If I'm Giannis, I'm gone. I gotta go. Like, think about this. The Milwaukee Bucks, can they develop and draft the right player? When have they drafted a player that can complement him? Just go back and look. I just looked it up. Go back and look. They can't. You tell me what free agent you just brought up the Miami Heat. When you got options and you're a really good player, the Bucks is the last on your list. The Milwaukee Bucks is the last team on your list. You're not going to Milwaukee to play basketball. You're just not going to do it. And so if Giannis wants to win and win big, he has to leave. And it's okay. And it's not ring chasing. I hate when they ring chasing and kind of try to shame a guy from leaving. He wants to compete for a championship, and he's not going to compete for a championship in Milwaukee.
How can you say that when he's won a championship there and they put the pieces around him in order for him to do that? How can you say that you can't do that in Milwaukee when they just did it?
The one guy, since Giannis has been drafted, that was able to help him out was Chris Middleton. Since then,
Drew Holiday helped.
They traded all the pieces that helped him win, though.
Understood, but they also traded Drew Holiday and those pieces because he wanted Damian Lillard.
It didn't work out.
Lillard is in Milwaukee.
It didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
You're right, it didn't
work out. Blame the
Understood.
Bucks for that.
Understood.
It's not the Bucks' fault. It's just that, man, I'm sorry I brought in, if I'm Giannis, I'm sorry I brought in Doc. I got Dame over here. This is not working, guys.
See, now I don't
appreciate you.
That is so wrong. That is so wrong.
Teams do it to the player all the time.
No, I'm not mad at him for leaving.
Yeah, he got to go.
I think if he wants to leave, he should leave.
Yes.
But
this is what
it's
LeBron
a whole
created.
different world when you leave.
LeBron created this.
What?
This going to these other teams when it don't work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's okay.
And look how well it worked out for Kawhi Leonard or Paul George.
It worked out for Kawhi Leonard.
It did not work out for Kawhi Leonard. No, it did not.
He went to Toronto and got a ring.
No. I'm talking about going to the Clippers. How has that worked out?
Well, sometimes it works.
How did it work out for Paul George? Leaving OKC and going to the Clippers.
Okay, hold on.
Sometimes it don't
I know,
work
we're not talking about the same level.
LeBron left Cleveland. Okay?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty
Let's
bad.
just be serious.
He also went
But
back
this
to
is
Cleveland.
Milwaukee.
He
too.
went back after he had won championships
Yeah.
and played with a premier organization of the Miami Heat and went to 4 straight finals.
Yes.
After that, he went back.
Yes, and
The
then won a
original
championship
Cleveland-
there.
Yeah, and could
So
walk
it's
in the door and
possible.
say, I want this.
Okay.
The first rendition of Cleveland, of course he had to get the hell out of there.
I'm not arguing with that.
The Bucks are not Cleveland. They won a championship. They
I
put
agree with
together
that.
a championship roster, and Giannis and that roster went and won a championship.
Right.
So he is playing alongside Damian Lillard. This isn't like the
If you look at them right now with Damian Lillard, just in the East,
Yeah, they wasn't good enough.
they can't win.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
You have to do what's best for you. Because a team always going to do what's best for them.
And I agree with that. But my contention is what's best for him is to stay in Milwaukee because they've demonstrated, one, that they can build a championship team around you. They have demonstrated that. And two, if you go someplace else, you're not guaranteed anything.
You're not.
Other than what Joy is saying, the pressure of, like Luka Doncic is facing right now.
But you know what
You
you
think
are
coming to
guaranteed
the
keep
Lakers,
losing.
like-
You are guaranteed. You stayed in Milwaukee. That's a guarantee you're going to keep losing.
No, that's not a guarantee.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think
it's not a guarantee.
As a competitor, I hate that I'm going into the next season knowing there's no chance I can win this year.
Look,
Like
Indiana.
That,
Did we have
that
Indiana?
right there is eating at me. Like Giannis is one of the best competitors we've seen.
Please talk
Here's
about
the
the Pacers,
reality.
Rick. Please talk about the Pacers.
What's that?
Talk about the Pacers.
Yeah. Were the Pacers supposed to be playing for a championship this year?
Well, they were.
It's a small market. Who wants to go to Indiana and play in Indiana? Oh, we put together
guys
a
that
team
get
capable
drafted there.
around Tyrese Halliburton, and we were able to get to the finals. Like, all of the
Game 7
reasons
in the
why
finals.
supposedly this can't happen,
A game 7
That's
of the
where he-
finals.
yes,
Need to go there. That's not
right there. According to
not saying
Paul
he should
Pierce,
go
was
to
going to win
Indiana.
in 6.
No one's
Indiana
suggesting
Pacers.
he go to Indiana. I'm just saying the idea that he's coming into this season thinking that there's no chance whatsoever that he should be competitive, like, then we're putting the bar too low for the greats in this league then. Because Indiana just debunked that.
Here-
They do
But
not have
Indiana was a good team last year.
They were, but they don't have Giannis. They don't have Giannis
Correct.
Antetokounmpo.
You're correct.
So you can't walk into every even the Celtics. Like, we're talking about the Celtics, because Celtics are nothing. Like, the Celtics are still going to be a very good team next
They'll
year.
be competitive.
Agreed. They'll be a competitive team.
Right. So this is just like simmer
Yep.
down here.
Here's the other part.
This is the Bucks are not the Bucks are not Cleveland.
Yeah.
They're
Here's the
not
other part
destitute.
with Giannis.
Sorry,
Is
Mel.
if Giannis,
I'm not talking about this current Cavs team. This current Cavs team is different. I'm talking about the olden days.
if Giannis was hitting free throws, and if Giannis had developed a mid-range jumper, if there weren't things that Giannis could
he's giving
do
you 30
to
11
make
and
himself better, I know you always do this. You do this with Luka Doncic too.
30,
You're giving me the numbers, and I'm like, yeah, but you could be better than you
Or they could
are,
be
and that could make a
35,
difference
11,
in
and
terms of
6.
winning a championship.
MVP 30, 11, and 6. You want me to make free throws and do what, Coach?
35.
What you want?
Coming
what
up,
else you want me to
Zell
do, Coach?
Curry said that Steph can play well into his 40s.
Get him back on that side of the
We'll tell you if that's fair or foul next on Speak.
What else you want me to do, Coach?
Man.
Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back to Speak. I'm going to read some news stories, and we will decide if they are fair or foul. Let's start with Steph Curry, who isn't the only member of his family to make the NBA. His father, Dell, said that his son could play, quote, well into his 40s because he can shoot the ball, and that requires that you have to guard him. So, Paul, is that fair or foul?
Well, that's pretty fair because we're seeing a test of it being done by LeBron, and this is a guy who he's 260, super athletic. Curry, he can play well, and he probably can play until he's 50. You know, at that point, when he gets to be about 42 for the next 8 years, he could be a spot-up shooter. he'll always be a threat. He doesn't have to run around, back cut, and do all the cutting he does now. But if he really wanted to, he could be the first NBA player to play till he's 50.
Okay, Rick.
That's foul.
Disregarding Paul's
He
statement.
just took it to 50. That is foul. I think it's not foul that he could play into his 40s, but I don't know that he can be the player that he is now or that he wants to play into his 40s. Steph has so much going on.
But could he play into his 40s is the question. Fair or foul, could he?
It's fair.
Very fair.
It's
his
What is
game.
37 now?
Yes.
Oh, that's easy. Call.
His best asset is a skill.
Right
that
around
skill
the
is he can really shoot the ball.
fall off.
And so he can play as long as he wants to play. Now, will he average 25? No, but he can give you 12 to 15.
I think it's very fair that he could play well into his 40s. 50 is a completely different conversation.
What do we call well, like 43?
I think 43 is well.
That's well, right?
Yeah.
Right.
6 more years?
But I mean, not at the version that he's playing right now.
Will he do it?
Could he still play? Well, we're not doing will. We're doing could.
He going.
I did will.
We want to change the
Well, you blame that on me.
He plays at 50. Switching to the football field, the Niners have only the 7th best odds to win the Super Bowl this season, and our coworker, Julian Edelman, thinks that's a good thing, saying, quote, maybe them flying under the radar could help them this year. Fair or foul, TJ?
That's fair. A lot of people, they've lost players, but they ain't really lost their main players. And so when you play the Niners, it's like, oh, they lost Debo. Ayuk is not going to be here. So they'll fly under the radar until they start smacking people, then they'll be right back where they were.
That's foul. 49ers are not flying under the radar. The concept doesn't make any sense. They're the 49ers. When have they ever flown under the radar?
You got to win in the division? They flying under the radar. See, you hesitated.
I gotta make it in the playoffs. Well, I would agree with that, but if they're in the playoffs, they're not flying under the radar.
Yeah, but I do think that we go into most seasons expecting the Niners to be NFC Championship game or Super Bowl. And they lost a lot of pieces this year. A lot of people are bailing on them. There's some questions about what Purdy's actually going to look like, even though he got paid, because of what he looked like last year with all his pieces, even though they're getting healthier.
Fair.
I think they're more under the radar now than they have been in years past, which is why I think this is fair. But Paul, fair or foul?
This is foul. The 49ers are never under the radar. Let me tell you something. When teams look at that schedule, when the 49ers come into their building, it's a sea of red. You heard of Niner Gang? That's
Bang,
what it's
bang.
Bang, bang. Come on, now. They got a cult following. It don't matter who's on the team. When the Niners come in town, it's a big deal. It's so hard for them to fly under the radar. I don't care who's wearing that uniform. Every game I went to see the Niners, it's floods of fans. It's excitement around them. You're not just going to come in there and look at the Niners like, oh, Nah, it's a big game everywhere they go.
Well, let's talk about the NBA draft. Ace Bailey was drafted 5th overall by the Jazz, but didn't make a ton of new friends during the draft process. 4-time NBA champ Draymond Green said that Bailey is, quote, walking into the NBA with a strike. Rick, fair or foul for Draymond to say that Ace Bailey already has a strike against him?
That's fair. I mean, it's all the talk about Ace Bailey. It should be he's going to Utah Jazz. He's going to be the next star there. Instead, all the talk is, oh, he didn't want to be there. And I'm sorry, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but you just got drafted as a lottery pick into the NBA, and you're complaining about where you're going to go. That's not the right foot to get off on.
You know what, Rick? Originally, I said fair, but it's foul. And you know why? He's not the first, nor will he be the last player to do this in any sport. We see it in football all the time. I've seen it in basketball. I even seen a kid, Stevie Francis. He said, if the Vancouver Grizzlies draft me, I'm going to retire. I heard a player coming out of college say that. Listen, players these days, they create their own journey. They are empowered more than they ever been. And yeah, maybe he should be thankful he got drafted to the NFL, but hey,
NBA.
it is, in NBA, hey, it's his right. Like I said, this ain't the first time this has happened. It happens all the time.
It's fair of what Draymond said. You're going into the league with a black eye. They had this narrative that you're going to be hard to deal with. If he plays well, all will be forgotten. But this happens all the time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, all the time.
If you had a choice to get drafted by a good team in a good city or Utah, you want to go play in Utah?
He wanted to go to the Washington Wizards instead, so I'm not buying that in this case.
Look at
Manning,
DC.
Eli Manning, who was?
It was Eli.
Eli, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to go to New York over San Diego.
Right.
DC, Utah.
Come on now. Sounds like this don't happen.
I don't know
Utah's
if I
a
would
better
say.
organization.
I think all the time is. It's probably not all
That's a
the
stretch.
time. We have
That's a stretch.
seen it before. I would say that anytime these conversations come up, it is frowned upon. I think we do not put as much bearing on the organizations, as much responsibility on the organizations to provide spaces for people to be successful. Now, obviously, once we have the eyeballs, we were just talking about the Bucks. Once we're starting to pay attention to what organizations consistently do, then we might be a little more critical and say, hey, like the players done everything they can do. It's now on the organizations to provide a way for them to win. I do agree with Draymond though, because the conversation is not about how good he's going to be there or what his potential is. The conversation is about him not wanting to be certain places. I think that the idea that you were just like should be grateful to be in the NBA, like, yeah, there are some players who should be grateful to be in the NBA. If you're a lottery pick, like you kind of work, you were good. You put in lots of hours in college and in AAU, and you went to training and you lifted some weights. Like you are a player that is being drafted high in the NBA because you did the work. Yes, like it is a blessing to play in the NBA, but you're not like lucky to be there.
Oh,
So that part of the like draft process, I think, is kind of a little skewed. Like you did a
They
lot.
brainwashed us in for a long time.
Yeah, you did. You did. We're gonna pull it out of you though. You did some work. Remember all that work you did?
Yeah,
To get to the NFL. Remember all that work you did? Like you earned your way there. Back to NFL training camp. The Saints draft pick quarterback Tyler Shuck is in line to start this year in New Orleans, and he's ready for whatever. Shuck said, "quote, you're not gonna faze me if we start off 0-2, or if I bleeping suck, it's gonna be fine." TJ. Is that approach from Shuck fair or foul?
It's foul, because as soon as you start losing, you're going to start losing confidence, you're losing games, and you're going to lose your spot.
I'm going to go fair. I love the confidence. I don't care if we get off to a slow start. I don't care if you talk bad about me. I'm still going to try to get the job done. That's how I interpreted it, that he's not afraid if it's off to a slow start, because you're a rookie, chances are it's going to be a slow start for the New Orleans Saints right now.
That's one way to interpret it.
Yeah, I interpret it the same way. That's fair.
There are two ways to interpret it.
In sports, you gotta have thick skin. He's like, man, I don't care. Listen, I'm gonna do me. You can throw tomatoes at me. I'm still cracking. Like, no, listen, I'm here for the long run. I done worked my butt to get to this point in my life. Now I'm a starting QB. Whether it come out, if it starts out good or bad, I'm gonna keep rolling.
Why are we talking about starting off bad?
Because
I think we can.
there's a good chance that might be the case.
Energy out there, like
project it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go foul on this one. I'm not talking about how bad we're gonna be and that, like, bring it on. Like I'm not starting.
I like
I don't think I'm
realists.
starting. Yeah, I like to think of myself as a realist. Maybe I'm a pessimist after all. Coming up, check out Paul bombing drives at a recent Speak get-together at Topgolf, and stick around for one of the wildest golf swings you will ever see. That's next on Speak.
How are you going to explain that, Paul?
Time to check in on our social life. Browns tight end Brendan Bates is at Tight End University this week. During a golf outing, he attempted to recreate the iconic Happy Gilmore swing. Missed pretty badly and fell to the ground instead. Paul, you think you could do better at the Happy Gilmore swing?
Oh, no, I never tried that. I want to try it. No, I'm better than that. I'm better than
problem.
that. I ain't about to do all that. I'm cool. I'm solid.
You're not gonna do that?
No, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna miss.
Do we have any evidence
Did I
of?
miss this? Hold on, I don't remember. I remember. Hold on, let me see.
What do we got?
Did I miss? Oh, okay, solid.
Oh,
That's
hey,
solid.
Okay, that's a good
that wasn't
swing.
bad.
TJ, you play golf?
Nice finish.
Nah, I don't play golf anymore. I'm not falling,
solid.
that's for sure.
I'm not falling.
I no longer play golf, but I'm not gonna fall. I may not hit the ball, but I won't fall.
Yeah, I'm definitely probably falling.
I'm not falling.
If I'm trying to do the Happy Gilmore,
Yeah, I'm falling, for sure.
No.
Coming up, three-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson hit another milestone in her career. I'll tell you what that is next in Friday Flowers right here on Speak.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the 50 pack.
It's Friday, so that means I get to give out some Friday flowers. Let's start in the WNBA. Aces star A'ja Wilson hit 5,000 career points on Wednesday in her 238th game. This makes her the fastest player to reach that milestone in league history. Breanna Stewart previously held the record by doing it in 242 career games. The three-time league MVP Wilson is now the 28th player in WNBA history to reach 5,000 career points. And after she hits the record-breaking shot, the crowd erupted and held up signs saying 5,000 while her teammates congratulated her. After the game, Wilson said it was a blessing to be the fastest to score 5,000 points. So congratulations, Asia. Kyrie Irving is showing how he's still connected to the city of Cleveland. Mother of Tamir Rice, the young boy who was killed by Cleveland police in 2014, is raising money for the Tamir Rice Foundation, and Kyrie donated $50,000 to the GoFundMe. The goal is to raise money to complete renovations on a building in Cleveland that will serve as a community space offering artistic, cultural, and educational programs for local youth in the memory of Tamir. Kyrie has been very active as an advocate throughout his career and continues to prove his latest commitment with that donation. Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy is giving back to his hometown of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Shady and his firm Vice Capital opened an affordable housing complex this week. He returned to the city to officially cut the ribbon on the JMB Gardens, named in honor of his late grandparents, James and Marianne Branch. The $16.7 million development brings 41 new affordable housing units to the area, replacing several properties that had been vacant. Shady said he witnessed the poor conditions as a child and aims to deliver a positive impact and, quote, bring everybody closer with this complex. So congrats, Shady. Coming up, in case you missed it, Paul unleashed his newest pass rush move this week. Stick around and see what else you may have missed from this week on.
Pressed himself.
That's why I don't mind how he handled it.
No, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, you can put yourself in a...
It's like when Paul traded the guys from Boston to get his guys. Everybody played dumb, right, Paul? Everybody played dumb. Everybody played KG, Ray, all of them just played dumb.
Was that how Doc was when he came in?
Yeah, Doc was into it. And he said something foul to me. And I said, you ain't about to be talking to me like that. He had a timeout. He was like, Paul, you need to pass the ball. And I was like, well, trade me then. I threw the clipboard. I was like, well, trade me then.
What are you going to do, drag him on the field?
No, you just going to get into confrontations with him because you leaving us out there. You leaving us out there all by ourselves.
You going to jump him?
No, for real though, Joy. No.
No.
Yes.
All right. Because Chris Paul was on the team in 2021. He got to get a new computer, man.
Paul revealed his latest defensive line move this week. You saw the old one, TJ. What do you think? We have this new one.
Oh, getting low right here. Getting low. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
I'm buying it.
The stance need work, but the move wasn't bad.
Nope.
Now you just kind of
way better than the last one.
Wasn't bad.
Way better than the last one.
Way better than the last
move wasn't bad at all.
Way
Smitty
better.
can't
Look
do
at
that.
this. Oh.
That's it for us. Have a great weekend.